Okay, cool. Welcome back. Well, I actually don't have anything fucking boobity boobity fucking retarded shit I say, right? Welcome back, my blank blank, or you blank blank, or blah blah blah. I don't have any of that. Today we are simply going to continue practicing lines, i.e., broken draw, shilling your boy yet again. His 25 exercises from imagination. Search that video up. I'm doing a chosen, I believe, 11 of them, right? Of my choosing. Kind of self-explanatory, but whatever. I'm doing a bunch that I feel are necessary for me to practice and refine in terms of perspective and line drawing skills. What else? What else? Oh, and I realized I was actually doing this wrong. I rewatched those videos, and it's not about stacking them all in the exact same perspective per se. It's about stacking them in the same perspective but rotating the boxes. So, for example, he did something like this. So, if you have a box that is facing this way, and you want to rotate a box, right? You want to rotate the box. It's like how do you ensure it's in the same perspective? That's basically what his practice was about and encouraging, and I misunderstood it or misremembered it. Possibly both, right? This actually isn't even in the same perspective, it's slightly off, but this is the skill, right? This is actually what he was encouraging. Again, right? Something like that. Yeah, it should be stacked in the same perspective. So here, the vanishing points are all going. Or I made these two in the same perspective, but it should have been following this. That's why this doesn't look like it's stacked on top of this. It looks like it's slightly floating, and there's a little gap here, right? But that's what his stacking was about. Same with the cylinder stacking. I made mine much more organic, but in essence, he was speaking of something more like this. So as you can see, the cylinders are still very much cylinders, but we have to think more about how it would twist in space. Right? So that's what he was thinking. I made mine much more organic than that. But that's okay. I feel as if this is sort of just a natural evolution of this. But this is, I would still do this sort of practice. And there's more to that as well, specifically with the cylinder stacking. It's also just having a bunch of cylinders in the same space as they are, and following the same perspective. As you can see, this is a very wide angle perspective. Oh, what the fuck? Why am I getting my Discord notification from work now? That's some stupid shite. And another thing is, like, they're all on the same ground plane. That's another thing this involves. Right? So these are all in the same perspective and in the same ground plane. That's another thing of a cylinder stacking that he was promoting, right? So those are the two additions that need to be made. So that's what I'll do. So let's start with something like And of course, we can change these as well, because it's similar to this, where we should be able to rotate them, but maintain the same general perspective, as in they're all in the same scene, and that they're all in the same ground plane. With this, there's the ground plane is just the box that it's resting on, so that's also a good thing to keep in mind. So that's what I'm gonna do going forward. I'll try to fill this page up with as much of that as possible, and probably maybe the next page, the top part, I'll just quickly do half of the boxes and half of the cylinders again, because that is something that I missed when it came to this, right? I don't think this is a bad practice. This is a really good practice to getting an overall zoomed out view of the perspective I'm trying to establish, but I can do that with them being rotated, right? It doesn't have to all be in the same perspective. So we could do either or, but for the time being, I'm just going to follow the practice that he set forth. He has much more experience than me, he is much more skilled than I. It's only fair I suck his dick. So let's get to it. To it. Do it to it. Goofy movie. First movie? I think it's the first movie. Or the second movie. I'm pretty sure they spammed that shit. Both movies. Fucking amazing series. Anyways. See, the first one is a fake laugh, and the second is actually how I laugh on a regular basis. But let's do something like... Okay, so these are all sharing the same ground plane. Then we can... that's incorrect. Yeah, that's incorrect. It looks like it's floating, but we can just keep going. That's also incorrect, right? Let us make some notes. That's a really good practice. Yeah, that's a really, really good practice. I would highly suggest it. It seems simple, but to think about the entire perspective, okay, because like this, ground plane like this, but essentially the ground plane is just being followed along from all of these, right? So technically these are correct, I'd like to think. But this is... Are these not all correct? Actually? They do all look as if they're in the same plane. The ground plane, because this is just moved back. Right? But how do I explain this to myself, that it's all within the same plane? Same ground plane. I could do something like... Right? You know? Well, technically it's like this. Like that. Yeah. So if anything, these shapes should have had more of a curve to them. Yeah, that's the main thing that's missing. But overall, they do look like they're on the same plane, I'd like to think. But the only thing that will confirm that is simply to continue drawing. So why don't we make the ground plane something like this? Okay. Oh, I need to stop hunching. This fucking... Everybody, posture check! This sort of setup that I have going does make me hunch a little bit. Not because I can't not hunch, but I'm just doing it. It's on me. So yeah, this is the ground plane that I'm trying to establish. Just a bit behind. Can even have something like this. Again, I'm experimenting myself. Like, I'm trying to figure it alongside. So this is all trial and error. Now, if we go here, do these all look like they're all in the same perspective? No, they don't. These do. Now, why does... What the fuck? Now, why does this one not? Because it looks like it's floating away from it? Like this all... No, that's incorrect. Fuck. This is in the wrong perspective, I'd like to think. Damn. Okay, I'm gonna leave this as is. I feel as if maybe I should do this more. Or no, maybe I should keep trying something like this. Let's try again. If we have... Let's how about we actually do a little bit of quote-unquote cheating. If visualizing it is a bit difficult, why don't we establish the ground plane with a very light underdrawing? So I'm just gonna do exactly what I did here, but, and by underdrawing I mean just this. This is the plane that they're all resting on. So not really less of an underdrawing and more of just a visual marker to understand the relation in 3D space. Right? I do this, then I do one without that. But obviously the goal is to do it without having to rely on this. Let me just take a little bit of a mental break, but I'm going to strain the fuck out of my brain moving forward. I mean, I always say I do, and I do my best, but it's very easy to forget almost that you have to strain your brain. Like you want, you want to be trying. Also, I walked away because I'm checking whether my laptop battery is Gucci. I am exporting one of my videos, yesterday's twisting boxes practice, and I'm getting my water bottle. Now that you have all role played alongside me, we can get back to drawing once I drink some water. Another thing about working your brain is the fact that your brain does not want to be worked. It's actually very difficult to think hard, especially when it comes to something as difficult as spatial reasoning, right? So, one thing that I've learned is that you really just have to accept that that feeling is the best thing, right? That feeling of being like, shit, this is very difficult, because only then will you actually make that change in your brain. So, that is, I mean, this ended up becoming the wrong, this actually, this one is not as accurate. But now, this does look like they're all in the same perspective, in the same plane. One of my mistakes was the fact that I was thinking I'd be able to, again, here, right, is the fact that, oh no, I could, that's just very difficult. So I could do something like this, actually, where it's a completely different perspective, in the sense that it is not adhering to, it's on the plane. Let's say it's over here, actually. Let's have a couple that's over here. You have one that's here, but it's facing this way. So how do we do that? Well, we still need to understand that this right here, this is a vanishing point, right? This is, it's not really converging that much, but it is converging. And this is part of that. This is landing on that. So even if I want, and I'm just explaining this to myself, and hopefully it makes sense to me while I'm explaining it, right? But the way I'm thinking about it is if it's on this plane, and let's say I want a cylinder just going kind of like this, just going this way, then I still need to adhere to that. Like so. It needs to follow along this plane. This is actually contours, is what this is. Right? This is the same thing as form intersection. This is, instead of form intersection, you just have to be aware of the form meeting, right? Instead of manipulating the intersections themselves, we are simply acknowledging that it exists. And now my goal is to figure out how to make something look like it's there. So would it be something like this? Is that not resting on this intersection? It is. Same with if we have a small, more flat cylinder, right? And I want to make its orientation, I still have to account for this. Is that correct? We will have to see, because right now it's still difficult to see this perspective, but I think that is. So if I were to move this, okay, well, it is correct, but we know it's very obvious. Let me just fix it with the red pen. So it's very obvious what my mistake was. It is correctly positioned on the plane, and it does look believable, but it also doesn't look believable. Why? Because this is not enough of a curve. Right, there you go. Now it looks more believable. But yeah, that was the mistake. The mistake wasn't the placement, it was simply that the cylinder was not drawn well. Cool. Okay. Now let's take out these guidelines, but add a couple others. Let's do something like, there you go. Probably shouldn't have added that. But if we do something like this, I can start just, because that is my perspective, right? I can do something like that. I can even do something like, as in, oh, this is falling over, right? We can make this orientation. We can make this oriented. This is going to be one that's just oriented as it should be. Like that. But then we can also do something like, right? All oriented on the same plane in the same space. That is what I am working towards in terms of understanding. And now we're just gonna let this cut off. I mean, I'm not gonna draw the rest of it, but I'm gonna keep practicing it. So again, a lot of this just comes down to the fact that my cylinders need to look more believable as well. But that can be done. like that, right? The lines are wonky. I'm very well aware, and I always say that my lines are wonky. Okay. See? So yeah, it's just trying to draw it along the same plane. It is difficult, obviously, but I think it's actually a pretty fucking cool technique, to be honest. Right? Same thing with if we do something like, uh, there you go. Now, not perfect, right? But what am I doing? I'm just creating them all in the same ground plane. At least that is the attempt, right? See, I fucked that up, but that's okay. This is the process of making mistakes. Now we'll know too what's working and what isn't. That's not too bad. There are obviously glaring errors, but it's really not too bad. We can even try something, like, again, if we're trying to think about it in the sense of the same plane, we could do something like this actually. Let's vary the sizes as well. Okay, we could do something like that, which means I am essentially just trying to think of a plane. At this point, that's the way I'm conceptualizing is there's just a plane of a certain size, a certain width, length, whatever, and a certain degree of perspective. Right? What do I mean by that? Like this one had a wide degree, right? Vanishing points were close. We're converging very fast. This one, yeah, it's a pretty narrow. Am I fucking this up? Is this wide or is this narrow? I don't fucking know anymore. Whatever. There's more convergence here, less convergence here. It's clearly sort of more convergence here because it's literally like this. Right, so I have to keep that in mind. While also keeping in the fact that some are closer, some are farther away, and also making sure, obviously, that the ellipses and cylinders themselves don't look too wonky. Okay. That tip that Broken Draw mentions, which is obviously, may have all heard Master Kim Jong-il say it before, but you really, okay, like, see, there's issues here, right? Like, these three are completely different perspectives, not really following that plane. This one should have been, this especially is incorrect. That one should be different. But yeah, Master Kim says the whole just pretend like your mind's a camera looking at a scene, right? So that is just another way to essentially trick your brain to visualizing things. You know? Yeah, this one should be more like this. Like that. Maybe it's not too easy to tell. Most likely it's not too easy to tell, but let me just take another break for my brain. Okay, I'm back. I'm actually trying to get this done. I don't know if I mentioned, but I actually wasn't in the mood to draw today. It's a fun little fact. Nothing fun about the fact, apart from the fact that you're having information relayed to you. I don't know. I'm really trying my best to be an entertainer, but there's nothing entertaining of value in what I say. So, what you gonna do? But yeah, no, I actually did not feel like drawing today. Not that it was just a bit of a mental block, to be honest. I always want to draw, but I'm sure many can relate in the fact that you want to do the thing, but you can't do the thing, and sometimes you just have to get to the location where you do the thing, right? Easiest example is always the gym example. Just go to the gym, right? Don't even think I'm gonna gym. Just I'm going to simply get in the car and drive. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna drive to the gym. That's where I'm gonna drive, and then you just sit in the parking lot and you're like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna step outside and enjoy some fresh weather, right? Okay, I'm just gonna walk to the entrance of the gym. Let me read that sign that's in front. All right, let me open the door and actually read the next fucking, I don't know, look at the door handle of the, you know what I mean. Is the fact is you basically just make it very micro manageable steps, and that's what I did. Is I did not feel like drawing today for whatever reason. My mind was not as motivated, so I simply decided to bring my tripod and turn the light on. That was it. I just turned the light on. This light that you see, I'm like, I'm gonna put it where it always is. I'm just gonna turn the light on. And then I was like, okay, let me just go take a piss, and then let me just get my phone and turn off auto rotation, or turn on auto rotation, right? So that way my camera can be oriented. And then slowly but surely, now here I am fucking drawing it in the zone. And even then, it was very difficult for me to focus, for me to focus in the beginning, as you noticed. Okay, let's do another one. Yeah, not only is drawing from this perspective difficult, as you can see, my lines drawing in this angle is also difficult. But now that we've established the plane, because that's what I had in my mind, let's start by wonky ass cylinder. That is incorrect. It should not look like that. There is no universe where it should look like that. Because this is the plane, right? What the hell is this? This is the plane. That doesn't make any sense. But that's good to know now. But I did attempt, right? And if I were to do it again, same thing, just something in that direction. Oh wow, yeah, even the minor axis is wrong. Holy shit, I haven't made a mistake like that in a very long time. In almost fucking a year, that sort of minor axis. But it goes to show just how changing the orientation of the plane can lead to such a difficulty. I'm gonna do that again. Let's pretend the plane's still going this way. Right, so what was I trying to do? Was it this? Let's see. That is more accurate, but that's not really an ellipse. So let's try here again. Still going, and we can do something like... There you go. Again, now that is much more accurate. You see? It's the ground plane. It's over here. Still a couple issues, but overall, yeah, that tip about just pretend like the paper is a window into the visual world really helps. But again, it takes a lot of time to build your perspective skills to be able to apply that more intuitively, right? Even now, the thing is, that cue is really helpful for me now because it's a very easy cue to get into the process of visualizing and thinking hard. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been helpful if I was starting out, and it's not helpful for those of you who are just starting out drawing boxes like this. Okay? It's not helpful for you. You need to get to a point where you can do something similar to this before you can even think about, oh, imagine it's a window into a visual world, or your mind is a camera. None of that shit works until you have the skill to be able to implement that sort of advice, right? A pianist, for example, for me, like a pianist saying, just imagine the keys are tied to fucking every synapse in your mind. Actually, that's a horrible fucking example. What a garbage. What the fuck am I trying to say? Let me slow down. That's like a pianist saying, imagine the notes in your mind as you are playing them. Bruh, I'm only a year in. I don't imagine the notes in my mind as I'm playing them. I'm just focusing on making sure I'm playing it properly, right? Or what other example could I use? I don't know. Actually, to be honest, I'm not as obsessed with piano, nor am I as proficient piano or knowledgeable in anything related to piano, apart from just what my teacher tells me and what I practice. To be honest, right? Like I don't have the initiative or the incentive to seek out new information. For me, with art, completely different. I want to learn as much as possible so that even if I don't have the skill, I know where I'm going. Piano, I just leave it to my piano teacher. So that's not a good example, but I think the point I'm getting across is build the required meta skills, i.e. the subset of skills necessary to perform the next set of skills, right? In this case, imagine it's a window, and imagine like you're seeing the perspective and you're part of the camera lens and all that shit, right? Imagine that you have this cylinder, for example, and now imagine you're looking at it from this angle. What would that look like? Okay, that would look like this. Oh no, that wouldn't look like that. Actually, yeah, it would look like that. I'm not really good at following up on my own examples, am I? But yeah, imagine you're looking at it from this side now. Okay, cool. I imagine that I'm looking at it from this side. But what about the part where I had to draw a bunch of this shit to be able to get to this point, right? Or to realize that this is actually inside a plane. That is time, my friend. There is a middle part right here. Let's just put, that little example people use with the dotted lines. This is missing. And this is what needs to be built before you can go from step 1 to step 2. But I hope that gets my point across. I'm gonna keep drawing. I'm wasting fucking time trying to help people. Oh my god. But anyways, let me get my new paper. I think I'm done with this paper for the time being. And now I can get my nice little top right shit going. To be honest, the next exercise is just continuing stacking and queuing, right? So that's basically just an addition to this practice. But Okay, let's do this. I'm just gonna think about a normal plane for the time being. Let's use this to establish. Yeah, let's do this. Let's make it difficult for myself, why don't I? I'm gonna do this. To establish the perspective. There you go. Like that and like that. Vanishing points here. And like that. Right? But it doesn't end because this can just keep going. So I can do something like this as well. And this is a really, really good practice in keeping the perspective in the back of my mind. Really good practice. Same thing. Now I want a cylinder facing this way. Well, plane's right here. Again, I messed it up, but it's okay. This is a huge part of even just drawing a manga, right? Is the fact that you need to be able to see all these different planes. Now, did I fuck this up? Maybe. But if we put into perspective that there will be another cylinder, much smaller, on this plane, something like maybe yeah, it's the fact that I'm not making the back ellipse as wide. And see, that's a fuck up, but that's okay. Same thing. If I do something like we're just trying to make sure everything's in the same perspective. I'm trying to think. Does that look right? It may not. It evidently may not. Because why does this look off? Oh, because the degree is too wide. It should be more like no, wait. There you go. Then maybe we can have, because again, it's going this way. Okay, some things work, some things don't. But there you go. There's my little corner drawing, I guess. The perspective I was going for, which may or may not have worked, was this. Right? Something like this. You know? Same thing like this. So, vanishing point is somewhere roughly here-ish. Right? But that's just what I was going for. And this is a great way I'm finding to practice perspective and spatial reasoning. So I might as well just keep doing it, to be honest. We can do another one. Maybe I could do something. Hmm. Hmm. If I have something like this, maybe? Right? Something that's going that like that. See? Does that does that make sense? That does make sense. Yeah, we have a because if it's like this, right? We have a box. I mean, a cylinder, also in that perspective. I don't know. It's very difficult to tell, but I'm just trying to make things work because this is the perspective grid, the plane that it's resting on, right? But then if I want to turn this, it should still be here, but what would that look like? Something like that. It's still lying over here, I believe. Maybe to actually illustrate this point further, I should actually draw the perspective grid so it makes sense in my mind, right? Because then I could do something like wait, is that even correct? What the hell am I doing, man? Wait. That is completely wrong. I'm gonna leave this, and that will not be my thumbnail. I think I messed up somewhere, because... And this is just me thinking out loud, right? This isn't meant to look pretty, so it's what it is. But it's like that. And this is the perspective I basically established. Then everything following that needs to also be established to that, right? Like it needs to also go in that direction. That's what's happening here. But what about the bottom plane, actually? That's just one vanishing point. I guess this is the bottom plane, no? Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, this is the plane. If I want to... something like this, I would assume, right? It's So is this still not accurate? I'm actually confused by this. So allow me to think on that afterwards. Let me just finish this up. And what else can I do? Is that correct? That's clearly incorrect, but this is the perspective. So I was trying to... These all do look like they're on the same ground, I would think, but maybe I am missing something. If we were just to do what Broken Draw did, and let's see, just draw as he did, right? Well, I fucked that one up, but the gist of what he did is just something like this. And again, ensuring all of these share the same plane. Taking distance into account, right? Something like that. That's what he did. And that's what I've done now. I guess I'm trying to go to the next step, which is just drawing the same thing in different orientations, just like the box one. And that is difficult, clearly. So let me try again here. Let's just do a small one, right? If I have a cylinder, I'll do a very small one. If I have a cylinder like this, I'm simply going to draw two objects that are in a different perspective, but in the same perspective, right? It's in the same space, occupying the same plane, but it's in a different, it's oriented in a different way. So there you go. That's one, and that's another. Let's see. Okay, so if this is facing this way, this is clearly a fuck up, but that is a fuck up, but it does look like that is correct. This I think is that might be okay. This one actually might be okay, but that is the goal. And then if we were to make it clear, this is essentially the plane, right? This is the space that these are all occupying. Honestly, explaining myself is really helping me learn. It's actually crazy. It feels like I'm doing less, but I'm still thinking as much as I can. But simply because I'm explaining myself, it is making it a lot easier to understand. So there you go, folks. Teach an imaginary audience in order to improve your art skills specifically. And this is obviously cross-disciplinary. Is that the term? Right? Yeah, cross-disciplinary, where this can be uh, applied to other disciplines. Right. Unfortunately, I can't fucking teach anything while I'm playing piano. How the fuck are you supposed to be like, yes, I'm playing this note, but you're like, oh my god, what note am I playing? And now, well, I was gonna sing "My Way" by Frank Sinatra. I have that shit stuck in my head, specifically the Dragon Ball Z abridged Cell's version at the end of the Cell arc. So good. And now, and now, I'm just going to do the other stacking that he showed, and it'll create a nice aesthetic, I'll think. Really, really is a good practice in terms of drawing through. I'll be honest, or imagining the draw through. And now, more than this, I did it my way. First rule of Popo's training: diddle your butthole. You all might be wondering, why do I speak about buttholes so much? Have you ever smelt one? Delicious. Yeah, that was a bit of a fuck up. Yeah. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, where I bit off more than I could chew. Something, 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 something by way. Lyrical, mystical, mythical, some shit, yeah. See, boys and girls, that's a mistake right there. That right there, that's a mistake. But you know what you do when you make a mistake? Stop trying. Stop trying. Give up. Why the fuck you here if you just keep trying? Ooh, actually, I could do something like this. Perspective change. Whoa ho ho! Who saw that coming? I didn't. And I always have my eyes open. Especially during the nut. Let's make this get bigger and bigger, actually. Just to get some blood flow up in this bitch. Whoa. This is how dragons are made, boys. Just a bunch of cylinders. Actually, true, to be honest. Now, do another one like that. before doing this. Whoa, nobody saw that coming today. Again, neither did I. That's pretty cool. That's interesting at the very least. Okay, it's already been an hour. I guess I'll cap it here. And how should I end this? There you go. Cool. Apart from this little mistake here, which is still valuable, and honestly I was doing that just because I didn't want to draw over this, but maybe it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been fine if I did it anyways. But yeah, good exercising of the fine motor skills. But this was really good. This actually still confuses me a little bit. I don't know if anybody's ever watching these videos, and if you are, at this point I'll have understood it, because you'll be a viewer from the future. But yeah, if you're watching from the future, please make sure to leave that really pretentious comment stating, actually, this is how it works. I actually might learn something new. Maybe I'll intuit it or internalize it in a way that makes sense to me, but isn't objectively how perspective works. So yeah, feel free to let me know. I'll make sure to thumbs you down. Make sure to, I don't know, can you harass on YouTube? Pretty sure you can harass people on YouTube. The fucking entire platform is made for harassing. So yeah, I'll figure out any way to make your life hell. But yeah, please let me know. I'd greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I am done. Actually, the whole, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I guess might as well ramble on a bit, because everybody loves it when I speak. But, and not draw, of course. But yeah, the whole reason I didn't feel like drawing, specifically I did want to draw today, I just didn't feel like doing this practice. Even though I wanted to, whatever, we talked about it, you want to but you don't, blah blah blah. But I didn't specifically want to do this just because I have a Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow, and I'm gonna be drawing my girlfriend something nice, right? By the time this video comes out, she'll have already received it, and she'll be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're telling the audience about this shit." That's what she sounds like, actually. If anything, her voice is a lot more gravelly and very masculine. Her Adam's apple is a bit concerning, but I'm gonna overlook that for the time being. But yeah, I want to draw her something nice. I have a rough idea, but again, we'll have to see if it comes to fruition. I kind of thought I would record it, but at the same time, what's the point, right? I want I want to start drawing cool shit randomly, because my art skill is not reflective of this. Funny enough, I can draw when I need to draw something very detailed and very perspective oriented. If I have a decent reference, I'll be able to manipulate that reference, a la Artwad Antonio, right? Manipulate your reference, don't be manipulated by it. But I am actually pretty decent at art. I think my welcome to my art channel progress should have shown you guys that much, in the sense that I can draw from reference and manipulate it and add my own little stylistic additions very, not easily, but pretty fucking well, considering that it's only been a couple of years. And what I'm trying to say is that I think it'll be good. I don't even know what I'm trying to do. Am I trying to flex? There's nothing to flex. We've clearly established my forearm is fucking tiny. Oh god, yeah. 5-inch wrist, gang. 5.5-inch wrist, gang. Rise up. There will be maybe one or two other hands rising up, since that is very, very rare, right? So this is what happens when you don't eat enough food, boys. This is what happens. You can avoid this fate. Please, if you are a teenager, eat your fucking food. Stop being a little bitch. You don't know everything, alright? You're just full of hormones. Eat your fucking food. Okay, by the time you're 25 and you don't listen to my advice or the advice of others who encourage you to get your nutrition in order, you will have either A, regretted it, B, be a sedentary individual for the rest of your life, or C, dying of AIDS. So if you especially want to avoid C, take my advice. As I've stated before, I am a healthcare professional. Everything I say is fact. As always, keep drawing. Keep fucking it up. As always, keep drawing, and please give me money. Thank you.